Hello, this is Captain. So I haven't done a fixture build in a while, so I thought I'd do this. Somebody on Reddit had asked for some help with their tank, so they posted a link to their builds. They said, I spent over 15 hours trying to make my first vehicle, but I have no idea why it's not starting. I've rebuilt the engine about 3 or 4 different times and cannot get it to work. Am I doing something wrong with the logic? I used a microcontroller tutorial for the starter that halves the fuel-air ratio, and the starter is clicking, but no sauce. Any help with making this thing actually move forward would be great. Deal of help, thanks. Edit 1, the exhaust is always showing 0, no matter what or where I place the parts or manifolds. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at this and see if we can't fix it. So I used to do these before, and so let's go ahead. So it's this one here. And let's take a look at the obvious stuff really quickly. I see it right here. There's no exhaust port. So let's put on an exhaust port. So you can put a fluid. You can put a fluid port on there. That would help. You could put an exhaust piece on there. That would help. So those, or you could also put a RAM on there. Any of these fluid outlets will work. So you need to put these on. I'm going to put a regular exhaust just to keep it unconfusing. But if we look at the exhaust manifold, we need to look at the shape. And let's flip this over. As you see, that's the octagon. The octagon needs to go to an octagon. So this is not actually outputting any exhaust. So you had no exhaust on there. So let's check the rest of it. We might as well look at it while we're there. Why is this here? So no wonder this isn't working. The air does not go through here. So again, if we grab this piece and we pull this, there's nothing that's going to go in here. So that's not going to work for us. Where is that? Okay, that's going back here. Up here. Okay, you have exhaust ports on here. I wouldn't do that. I would get rid of this. That goes on the end. Again, if we look here, we have an octagon. If we look at the end of that air filter that you just had, no octagon. So that is not going to fit. That shape, if we look at the other side, that's the shape you want. So this cannot be midline like this. So what we'll do is we'll go over here, and I'm just going to put a pipe in here. We'll get rid of that air filter. Bingo, that goes there. And I need to find, they're not colored in here anymore, but this is blue. So what we'll do here is we'll delete this. What is the red? Red is cat going here. Okay, so this exhaust port's fine. This one here was doing nothing. So this exhaust port here is connected to an exhaust port there. Goes through a cat. So let's check the cat. Let's actually, before I get distracted here, let's go ahead and we'll just put the air filter back on over here. So if you want this to be up higher so you can actually see it, we can do that as well. So let's stick the air filter on the air there. So the blue one is the air. Next thing, we have to check the cat. So look at the cat. Exhaust in, that's correct. So that's going in the correct way. We know that's working. Let's check this piece of pipe here. Make sure it's angled. It's angled. It's going to the back from there. It's coming up to an exhaust. So that actually has an exhaust port on it. So I don't know what this exhaust port's all about. You have double exhaust now, so I'm not sure why you double exhausted it, but you did. Okay, that's fine. We have fuel coming in. So there's a fuel manifold, there's an air manifold, starter, alternator, pump. Let's just make sure the pump's flowing correctly as well over here. Fluid out. Okay, that's fine. So that's hot side, cold side. That's going through. Radiator. All right, let's check on the fuel here. So fuel comes in here. All right, you're not going to get any fuel out of this. So no fuel's coming in here. You need a fluid port. So take that. Fluid port right here. And now you can actually get some fluid out of this. That terminates. You can't just have the end of a pipe. You have to have a terminating piece like that to actually let fluid in or out. Let's see. So I put that on there. What's over here? Let's check. Make sure you have diesel in here. Diesel, that's good. Should probably be a meter, I'd imagine. Meter, okay, that's fine. It's just not connected. So you didn't have any fuel. Your air was interrupted, and you had two exhausts, but one of them was not connected. So let's see if I can fire it up without having to screw around with it too much. Let's see. Are things labeled? All right, so you did. Good, perfect. So that's good. That helps a lot. So 6, start, stop engine. Let's go ahead, spawn it. And let's first fix this so it doesn't drop from the sky. So we'll go move, drag it down to the floor, spawn. All right, now it drops reasonably. Let's see if we can't crank this and get this engine started. So 6. Turn the volume up so you guys can hear. All right, so it's running. No other controls here that I know of. So that sounds like a clutch problem. I do not know how you have these tracks running. So we're going to have to go in there and look at more of how this is running. So it sounds like the engine is stalling. You have a 2-cylinder. Yeah, this is only a 2-cylinder motor running a tank. So that's probably not great. I doubt... Do we have any gear ratios? We have 1 facing the engine. That is not going to work. That is not going to work here. You know, when you're using land vehicles, especially something that's reasonably heavy, you're going to need to down gear it. So let's flip that around. And I want to see if we can get this engine running. Okay, that's fine. Let's leave it as a 2-to-1 for now. So this comes out here. It goes back and it splits. And it goes out to these 2 drives there. And then I assume these are coming up to the front here and running the front. That is what that is doing. So we have a clutch for here, clutch for there. I have no clue what is actually running these. So let's do clutch pressure. So that is clutch. How are you turning if your clutches are all going to the same? All your clutches are going to the same. Okay. So this will be able to go forward, but it won't be able to turn. So let's see if we can get it to even move. So I need to go in here and see what is actually running the clutch. So where's clutches? Clutch right here. So we have, let's see, if RPS is greater than 3 and what are you running here? 2. So 2 is the WS. So if 2 is greater than 5, whoop, that's not going to work. Let me see. Okay. This is fine. Okay, so if 2 is greater than 0 and if RPS is greater than 5, that's fine. It's going to increase. So it looks like kind of like my auto clutch there. Okay, that runs fine. Let's see what this is. Okay, good. So that is going to be WS. All right, let's spawn it up and see if I can't get this running. So, you know, you're trying to up gear it. The likelihood of that working is very slim, especially with a 2-cylinder engine. So let's start it. And we'll try going forward with WS. So I'm going to probably have to down gear it even more. Again, you have a tiny, tiny little motor in there. This doesn't weigh all that much, but let's see. Do you have any brakes on here? No brakes. Okay. You have the 2 clutches. Let's check electricity. I can always turn on infinite electricity, but everything's plumbed. Okay, let's, so we need to down gear this even more. Let's down gear this a bunch and see if we can't keep that engine running. The engine doesn't want to run because it's, you know, we're stalling it. We're overloading it. All right, so it's getting better. Let's go ahead and let's check our clutch here. All right, clutch is there. Let's see, 0.01. Let's make that take a little bit more time. So let's do 0.07. So that will put the clutch in a little bit more slowly, hopefully not stall it. And we're going to have to down gear. Let's check with just the let's grab it back. Let's check with just the clutch adjustment that I made. See, it probably still is not going to want to do it. So personally, I would put the clutch on the engine at 100% if you're not actually activating it, but I don't think it really matters. So that's fine. You hear it putting the clutch in more slowly. So that is helping, but ultimately you have a 2-cylinder engine here trying to run 2 tank tracks. So what I would find is highly likely that's causing you problems here is your gear ratios are just, you're not down gearing this enough. You have a tiny little motor trying to run a tank. And so, let's see if I can't get a gearbox here. Oh, come on, give me a gearbox. Gearbox, there we go. Facing away from the engine is down gearing. Facing towards the engine is up gearing. So that is now a 4-to-1 gear ratio, 6-to-1 gear ratio. So for every 6 rotations of the engine, we're getting 1 rotation of the tank tracks. Let's go ahead and start it. So you see that is still not down geared enough. I can hear the clutch. Let's see if you can hear it. You hear the clutch, the engine going wow, wow, wow. That's because the clutch is having to go in and out to keep it from stalling. So you need to down gear even more. So let's see where we're at here. Let's go to a 9-to-1. That's a 9-to-1 down gear. So every 9 rotations of the engine, we're going to get 1 rotation of the tracks. So likely, I would put a bigger motor in this. If you want, you're never going to get any speed out of this currently. Alright, so it's running stably now. So what you need to do is, if you want to go faster, you're going to have to get a bigger motor. Because every time, the way you had your gearbox, you were trading the torque away for RPS. And so you just didn't have enough torque to move these tracks. And so if you increase the gear ratio facing towards the engine and the speed goes down, you're going to need a bigger motor. And just looking at it, that's a 2-cylinder. There's no way that's ever going to give you enough power to operate it. But so yeah, some of your issues were you had nothing on the exhaust here. This exhaust back here was working fine. You had an exhaust port on that. I would just use an air filter. You had no fuel intake, so you weren't going to have any fuel. And then your gearbox was facing towards the engine, which trades away torque for RPS. Well, that means you don't have enough torque to get moving. So as you can see, we're now moving. So I would increase the engine, and I think you'll be good there. So I'll just grab an XML file, and I'll send it to this person along with the video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.